Should turn on my microphone. Howdy, folks. Kevin here. Got the stream going and set up and everything. So, just got my music going and everything. Welcome to the live stream. Today, we are going to be talking about WebdriverIO, Appium, and Sauce Labs, thanks to a viewer question yesterday. If my audio is terrible or anything, please let me know. Kind of rely on y'all to help me with that. But yeah, last week we talked, there was a question about how to get WebdriverIO set up with Appium and Sauce Labs. Let's see exactly what it was. Yeah. And I have a few videos on the channel about it, but it doesn't go into it doesn't go into too much depth. I can close out of that about how things are. So let's get started. Got the thumbs up on the audio. Let's get to it. Okay. So to start things off, I have, to save a little bit of time, I created a new directory called WebdriverIO Appium. Went into that directory and then did an npm init-y that basically sets up a package JSON that has the following information. It helps when we run this next command, which is npm I for npm install at wdio/CLI. That'll install the CLI, the command line interface for WebdriverIO, which is what we're going to need. And we let that run, had it installed. Now we are going to run our configuration utility. That's going to be the next step. And I'm pretty confident on the first few steps, and then I'm going to be much less confident when I get to more of the Appium stuff, but we'll get there. So, oh, that's weird for some reason. Yeah. Okay, so where's your automation backend located? Let's see. So this wants to be Sauce Labs. I kind of wanted to show this running locally, but I think I'm going to stick with Sauce Labs because it's going to make things simpler for us. We do need to enter our username and password. Oh, environmental variable. Okay. So it's not the environment. It's not our actual username. It's the environmental variable for it. And we'll get to that in just a minute. And we're going to keep it as the defaults. Do I want to run my test on? No, I don't want to run it headless because I want to be able to see it. We'll do it in the US. We'll use Mocha, synchronous. Our specs are located there. And this is a new option. They can, WebdriverIO will auto-generate test files for you, which is pretty handy because of, well, I think it'll be handy. It'll help people get started first. So I'm going to hit yes. I kind of want to see what it will do. Do we want to use page objects? Yeah. I haven't actually seen that, where my page objects are located. One thing I would change about this is I would do capital O, so camel case here instead of just all lowercase. Not using a compiler, we'll use spec. We don't want Chrome driver, we don't need that. We do want Sauce Labs. Did I miss it? There it is, Sauce Labs. So we do want the Sauce Labs service. Nothing else. There's a new Slack service, that's cool. Nice. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We don't need Chrome driver because this is going to be running through Sauce Labs, and Sauce Labs kind of acts for that. Base URL. We need a base URL to test. Since this is going to be a progressive web app, I'm going to use my demo URL. So this is from my book. I've mentioned my book before. It's not necessarily a web app, but it should work similar. It's just a website. Web apps are just websites, to be honest. So we're going to let that install. While we do that, I'm going to see if I can do something. Nope, nope, nope. I guess I can't. Okay. Give that a minute to run. we'll open up Sauce Labs, and let me get that. I need to log in kind of on my other screen because I'm not crazy about giving away all my credentials. And that's still running. Pop open a seltzer, an unbranded seltzer. Can't get branding. I don't know what is it with branding. Like you can't show branded stuff on like commercial television, or there's some weird rule that, you know, we've always dealt with like all the brands being blurred out unless you get specific permission or something. I don't know. Okay. Account. Let me make sure my Sauce Labs account is the right one. Yes, it is. Perfect. Perfect. And then that is still installing. Man, I should have. I was debating whether to run through this configuration helper on my own so that we wouldn't have to wait for this to install. I didn't realize it was going to take so much time, but I finally did. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this directory. So I just do st is an alias I have for Sublime Text. Passing in a period there allows me to open it up with the folder on the left side. So this is my folder. We can open up the package.json we created. Let's make this text a wee bit bigger. You see we have our services installed, and then configuration, and I'm going to skip that song. Here is that sauce username environment variable. And give me a second. Yes. And then the US region, that's also for Sauce Labs. There's our tests. And you know what? Let's look at tests. There's two folders that it created for us. And there's a single example. Let's look at that example. Login page open, login. Okay, so that's neat. Let's see if we have our environment variable set up. There we go. So this environment variables, I don't want to get into too much detail about it because it depends on what system you're on, how you set it up. But essentially it's a key value pair that you store on your local computer, and it's good for things that you need to keep semi-secure. So here's this sauce username, but more importantly, it's the sauce access key. And applications or Node specifically can access that information from process environment, process.env. I can get my sauce username and my sauce access key. That means if I save this and upload it to like GitHub, it doesn't have my actual access key in here. That's stored in my local environment. And yeah, so it's just a little bit more secure. But I do have my username, and then I'm not going to show you my access key because then I would have to reset it, and that wouldn't be great. But it is there, and I'm actually probably going to have to reset it because it's probably going to get exposed at some point just because I'm not super careful about it. So here we have our capabilities. The thing we need to do is we want to have this run on a phone or a device. So if I head over to Sauce Labs, so I could just run this right now. So if I do npx WebdriverIO, it's going to run in Sauce Labs. Going to take a second to start. Yeah, there we go. With that default file that it created. Now we go to, while that's running, I want to get my capability set up for my custom device. So let's say we want to test in iOS. And to do that, they have a capabilities generator somewhere. Where do they have it? Platform configurator. There it is. And I'll post that in chat. Let's see how our test is doing. Okay, our test ran, which is good. And then I'm going to post that there. Gonna do a few things at once. And this is the full test. You see it fills in your name, the name of the test for you, which is really nice. And that comes from the WebdriverIO Sauce Labs service. Does this for you. Here it also fills in the test itself. You can see we can jump to specific spots. Excuse me. Yeah, that's the basics of the test. It was a very simple test, but it ran through Sauce Labs and worked great. So now we want to, instead of have it run on the desktop browser, we want to get it to run on a device, like a phone device. So instead of WebDriver, which is the default, we're going to go with Appium. Now there's this legacy Selenium, but then there's a newer Selenium that's also WebDriver. And oh my gosh, it has WebdriverIO in there. That's so cool. Good work. Legacy, so Selenium was the original protocol. WebDriver was kind of built, I think, kind of as a side project. And then at some point they merged together to become the WebDriver W3C spec. WebdriverIO piggybacked off of the WebDriver name because it was focused just on WebDriver. Now it's focused on WebDriver and Chrome DevTools plus other protocols in the future possibly. And Appium is another one, which I don't think Appium uses WebDriver, but it's kind of works in the similar fashion. So those are your different APIs, and there can be some confusion between Selenium and WebDriver. But basically, Selenium and WebDriver kind of came together, and now Selenium is more of a tool than a protocol. So, or a set of tools. So you could have a Selenium adapter for Node.js called Selenium WebDriver. You could have a Selenium. You have the Java Selenium adapter for Java, but then it plugs into a WebDriver API. We want the Appium API. Because for that, we want, we're going to use a simulator or an emulator. We're not going to do a device because we have to have this test object platform enabled, which I don't at this time. So let's do an Android, because let's do Android. Oh, they have a little scrolly thing here. For some reason, this reminds me of like late 1990s JavaScript. What's weird is that it doesn't scroll over all the way. And then it jumps back and doesn't keep scrolling. I like the idea. And then what's up with all this white space that it's not using? I'm just going to be very judgmental. Let's start with a Google Pixel. Yeah, Google Pixel 3a. And then the operating system, of course, is going to be Android. Appium version will be the latest. Sorry, I didn't mean to scroll up there. We want, oh, interesting, hybrid testing. We're going to start with the web testing. We'll jump into hybrid testing if we have this. Yeah, so Appium basically uses Selenium libraries. Yeah, basically. So it has all the same endpoints as Selenium. It's just the way that it communicates with the device, I don't think is Selenium. I think it uses the native device tools. You know, I should know this. Yes, you're right. Okay, then we want to copy our code. We're going to click Node.js, and we're going to have to, well, we don't really have to customize it too much. But let's go up. There's two ways we could do this. We could say let caps equals, actually that could be a constant. Even though we're modifying the constant, it is an object, so it's kind of weird. The object stays defined as an object. It's just you're modifying the object, and you can name it a constant, even though It's weird where what is it? Weird how arrays and objects you can define as constants but still modify them. They can be confusing, but maybe we'll just go with let, just in case. So we could do that and come back down here and under capabilities, paste that in. Notice how I keep this as an array. I think that's necessary. Might not be, but yes, working in QA, you do tend to see bugs a lot more than normal. Man, I opened a new bank account and I broke their system real bad. And I was talking with the guy who is kind of in charge of tech support, and he was impressed with how much I broke it. I said, "Well, that's my job. I'm here to find problems." But it's not great because it's still broken and I can't use it for now, so I got to call them back. Okay, so that's the one way you can do it. If you don't want to have this up here, I don't like having these capabilities all the way at the top of the file because I'm just not as happy with it. I like having it in the capabilities section. Now, I'm thinking about that and I'm like, well, it might not be a bad thing to have it like the important stuff that you really are going to mess with at the top of the file and then load it in here compared to the other stuff. Like you're not really going to mess with the region that much. You're not going to mess with whether you bail or not all that much. It's going to kind of be a constant thing that you set. But I'll show this for the fun of it. So I need to come in here and convert this from the format that it was in to the new format. So I'm going to use my Command D to do multiple selections. Delete that, come over, change that to there, leave all that there, and put in commas. And apparently it broke right there. And that doesn't even need a comma. So now I've converted it to just a straight object format. Everything stays the same, or like everything else stays the same. And that's it. Let's go back and run our test. You can see it's picked up our new capabilities. I almost spilt my soda all over my keyboard. I would not have liked that. But these things do happen. Can you tell me what movie These Things Do Happen comes from? It's a very theatrical movie. Quite theatrical. I don't know. It's based off of a opera. And is it based off? No, it's not based off of an opera. It's based off of a musical. Maybe. Uh-oh. Value must be a list. What's that coming from? Okay. Here's our first hiccup. Oh no, I closed my live stream information. You can see what I'm listening to up here. Isn't that fun? So it did load the page. Value must be a list. I have some ideas. Main idea is that if this is Appium, maybe it doesn't like, maybe it needs something very specific. So there is the Appium service. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just for running the Appium server. There is an Appium protocol. Let me see something. There is an Appium boilerplate. That's what I was looking for. This first result was pretty cool. So let's see how their tests are. They have specs. They have a login spec. Set value. Okay. What do they have for their... Oh, no. Config. That's not what I wanted. They have a Sauce Labs config. Android. I think I have to put automation name in there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I need to put automation name in there. And the reason for that is I just don't think WebdriverIO knows that you're using a different type of automation protocol. So, somebody should be taking notes. Somebody should be like recording a video of this so that we know how to do it next time. But make it a lot better. Maybe I'll get somebody to edit this down and make it a shorter screencast, because I like doing this live, because you run into issues like this and you kind of work through how to figure out what the issue is, so that if somebody else runs into an issue similar, not the exact same one, they kind of have the same idea. It's nice, but it does take a very long time. Okay, now we have our automation name in there. I'm not entirely convinced that this is what the automation name needs to be. And let's actually go back. What else? They have test object. That is something to do with the test object platform that Sauce Labs has. Okay, that looks pretty good. There's the region. Everything else is good. Still the same issue. I'm going to copy this over and go there. What else did they do here? We have the service, we have the region. I don't think we need to worry about that. We have delete the port, but that basically uses the default port, which we already have set. So that shouldn't do anything too special. Okay, let's try running it with all of these capabilities. Oh man, sometimes, shoot, I wonder if I need to comment that out. That might not be necessary. We'll see. Yeah. Try it again. Let that commented out. What? No, it's not even. Failed to create session. No browser name or app. I see. Okay. Maybe that automation name isn't correct. Close that, close that. Advanced configuration. Resolution, no. I don't remember running into this issue. That's how you run it locally. I don't really care about that. So what else? Let's go here. What else could be different? Automation name. Which automation? Appium, UI Automator, Espresso. Let's say Appium instead of UI Automator. And try that. Automation name. Alternatively, maybe the device just is not a good device to be testing on. I've had this issue with devices, especially with Android devices and Chrome. Trying to get the Chrome driver version matched up with the version of Chrome on the device that comes in by default is a mess and very much a pain. Okay, so it is running, but we've gotten here before, and there's that same error. Value must be a list. Well, now we do the very smart search. This is so funny. I've tried searching through Gitter, and oh, it's not fun. So it's just funny to have a result in there that you can't even use their own search engine to find. I use... Oh, man. Do you see anything in here that was what we were looking for? Oh, I keep getting error, request failed, invalid. Oh, that's actually not... I don't think that's anything, but let's see if we can find where there. Missing element. Okay, that's not what we were looking at. Appium. No. Yeah, I usually go with Stack Overflow, but it doesn't like this. Let's argument error. There. That might be a little bit better. CodeStep also uses WebdriverIO, if I remember correctly. This song I'm listening to is super chill, so if I start singing it, you're gonna have to deal with it. Paste that. See if I can find you. There. Very weird error. Let's see if they were responded to. I'd have to check the spec and testament. I'm not gonna be poor Adam. I don't think it was solved. Isn't that the way it goes? Doesn't look like they were ever got a good answer. Okay. Transform to char string. The string conversion doesn't happen when you run a command for WebDriver through Appium. When we run browser tests using Web App program, will you be able to add that test? I haven't tested yet. And this was a long time ago. So it looks like it should have been fixed. Let's check out the... See there. Okay. Check chat. Will there be an interpretive dance? Like for what? I need information, more details. I have an idea. Clone Appium boilerplate and modify configures today. Yeah, I think I might do that next. So the good thing is that it does run. You know what? I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to switch over to iOS and just do theirs. Web testing. I wonder if, what is hybrid testing? Oh, it just allows you to specify a URL. Does it change anything down here? It does not. So I'll just do that. That's funny. They don't have the let caps here in this. That's kind of weird why it is in one and not the other. Okay, now what I'm gonna go, oh, interpreted dance of my chill music. Yes. There it was. That was my interpretive dance. Because I might be switching these capabilities in and out, I am going to go with having it at the top of the file and then just reference it here. It's just going to be easier for copy paste. Let's run this test again and see if that works. So now it's running on Safari in iPhone X. Oh, you need to be paused. Come on. Oh, this song's over. What do we have next? No, it's just going to freeze up. Actually, it's probably just taking a while to load. We can go... Can I go to Sauce Labs? Am I logged in? I'm not. Even though I was, I'm not. Come on. Tick tock, tick tock. There it's going. Hey, now it worked. So it's not necessarily anything with our configuration. It's just that that browser or that phone had some support. I wonder if it is Android. What if I do a different Android device? Now let's change that over. Nope. Back to Appium. Back to Android. And let's do Galaxy Tab. That is an old version of Android. 191. All that stays the same. Come here. Here they have caps, but they don't have let caps. I don't think they had it in the first version anyway. I kind of wish they would just give it to you as an object. Let you decide everything else. Okay. Now I can come back here. Hold this baby back over. There we go. That was our job that just ran. And yeah, there it actually did send the keys. And then, okay, so we've got this running. I'm going to try this in the other platform on this Galaxy Tab. Next, we're going to look at getting an app installed. So while our session or our test runs, I want to get an app to install. So we need an APK. If we go back to this platform configurator and we do hybrid testing, you see how it needs the app URL. Okay, question for those of us joining late. Michael, can you repeat what we're working on? We are looking at how to get web app testing done on a mobile device, a tablet, or something like that. So we're looking at a progressive web app and how to get that running through Sauce Labs and things like that. So that one failed for the same reason. I have one more idea. Knock down the version of Appium to 181 and see if that does it. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It looks like there's something funky with that system, but we're going to skip past that. Okay. In here, the WebdriverIO, I knew there was a native app. Okay, so I'm going to download this app. Downloads. Yeah, I could go to Uber or Starbucks, but for their app, but I'm just going to use this one because it works. So let's download the APK. Give that a second. And that still failed. Okay. So it's not the Appium server. It's just something weird. Nice. Okay. I need to... No. I thought that would open a Finder for me. I'm gonna move that APK I just downloaded. I'm gonna move it off screen over to this folder, and PWA is different than native. How so? Because from my understanding, there's two kind of ideas of PWA or progressive web app. You have just a pure website that people can go to, similar to what we've done in our test, where we go to this login page. Login.open. Super. Okay. Show you. It's the page. Open just runs browser.url and it goes to that page. So you open a web browser on a device and it works kind of like a website, but it's kind of a web app in that it's a little bit more functionality. So that's the one where just the user goes to the website on their device. You can make a shortcut to it on your device, but for the most part, you just manually go to it, like we're doing here, where you do browser.url. There's another one where you use a tool like not Electron. What's the other one? Oh. Ionic framework. And it lets you write your website in Angular or React or probably Vue as well. And then it builds an app around it. So the app wraps around your website. So basically, when you open the app, it's just looking at a web view inside the app, but it does have native support. You say that there's non-native support, so that would just be like a website that I'm thinking. Let me move this over. I need to go to my sites, Appium. Okay. Man. Okay, so you see here, this is my folder. I've got my app in place now. So if I come back to my example, I'm actually going to get rid of all of this. Let's delete that page object because we're not going to be worrying about that. Yes. My application should load. And then comment that out. And then we're just going to do a basic element selector here. I don't know what that's going to be, but we'll fill that in later, and it's just going to be to exist. And we'll come back here, and let's see. Close in Ionic. Come back to my. Don't close my platform configurator. Boo. Close this extra stuff. And reselect all this again. Our device is going to be Android, since we're using an APK, which is the Android version. I don't want that. You're kind of old. Give me something new. What if I do just Android emulator? That's old too. Why isn't there anything new on here? Google API, Galaxy Tab A10. That's gonna be, no, that's still a, oh, man, I hate whenever I scroll up to try and get to the top, it scrolls me up. So weird. Okay, I guess we'll just go with this phone. I don't know, it's weird. Latest one, we're gonna do app testing. I don't know what the difference between hybrid and app testing is. There we go. That's going to be our APK for sauce storage. To access files uploaded to sauce temporary storage, use sauce storage URI. Okay, go back here. Copy you back there. Scroll up. I don't know if this is going to work. I might have to manually load that up. Let me look at, actually, this, no, go back. That's a boilerplate. Config, Sauce Labs, Android. They don't have the app defined in here. They do have a, perhaps they load it on test object, which is different from what we do. If we look here, they do have that information. That's their path name. I'm gonna run this and let's see how it goes. It should get to here and then fail because that selector doesn't match any elements. And I'll jump back here. We can see our test running if we go to test results? Live. Live test? No. We want automated. I guess we want test results, even though they're not really results yet. Failed to download it. Right. Which makes sense to me because we didn't upload it. So now we need to go back to the Appium service. No, the Sauce Labs service. And let's see. Man, I did this a long time ago and I don't remember how to do it. There is an API that is from Sauce Labs. Oh, it's not in there. So there's some extra stuff you can do, but it doesn't look like it has what we want. No, that's okay. Google, oh wait, WebdriverIO, Sauce Labs, Sauce Storage. Very, very old video of mine. Do not watch it. It's got to be so out of date. React. Let's just search for WebdriverIO Sauce Storage. That's downloading files. We don't worry about that. That's uploading files. This is not... Okay, there's sauce storage from all the scripts. So basically they use... This is a super funky song I'm listening to, by the way. They manually push the storage up. Scripts Mac download. So if I go here, let's see what Mac download. This just pulls down 2 images and then, yeah. So curl will make a web request. This is passing in the username and access key as headers. Setting a content type. This is the endpoint. That's weird. Oh, that's uploading a file to it. If you will give me 1 minute, I am going to find an old project that I used to work on that is for a company I was contracting with. And I did this, so I want to find it. So you're going to need to be patient with me for 1 second while I look at this off screen, because I don't really want to get into any legal trouble with showing the company code base. Not that I have it on my computer. I don't. I deleted it. What is that? Okay, that's interesting. Doesn't really look like it does anything. Questions we have: search on Google after this demo regarding you want to run the test, download the personal web app, not personal, progressive web app, PWA. WebdriverIO needs to modify to run test on the downloaded PWA. Not sure I understand how that is supposed to be set up. You're welcome for the tutorial. Hopefully it is helpful for people. Which company am I currently working for? I just do contract work. So I have one contract right now. I have availability for another contract, but I haven't found anybody really interested. I haven't been searching too hard either because I'm working on the book. I'm finishing up the book, and then I want to get to the course next. And so it's kind of a conflict between the short-term contract work compared to the long-term working on the book and the course itself, which is what I really want to be doing. And these live streams and stuff, I really enjoy doing these as well. So I'd rather be doing that. So I'm not super pushed to go down that path. I'm going to look at Appium.app. See, that's different. These capabilities are a bit different than the other one, and I think that's what I was seeing in this other configuration file. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Making a Udemy course on WebdriverIO would be fascinating. I don't want to use Udemy, actually. I prefer going just self-publishing because Udemy takes like 70% of the income. They have this high royalty cost. And the reason for that is they're giving you an audience. But I've kind of worked to have a great audience here. And so I don't want to have to pay for an audience when I have a very happy audience who's super awesome and I already know about them and everything. So why would I do that? Let me see about this. That's that. Under here, that uses test object to upload it. Let's go back here. Sauce apps, no. No. What if I go here? See, that was talking about I need to use the test object platform. And automated testing with real devices. Manual testing, what you'll need. Uploading or accessing your application. I think what I'm going to do... So yeah, we can upload it through the UI. Whoops. Login, select live. Mobile app. App upload. So I can... Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's really nice to hear. I appreciate it. Like I said, I really enjoy doing this because it's fun. And I get to explore a whole bunch of different things and kind of rack my brain on how to figure it. So okay, I can upload the app manually. That's a short-term fix. I don't really want to do that. I can do. Oh, I could use a remote location. That's interesting because if we go back to here, yes, the releases can be found there. Package. Let's see if they have anything in here. No, I was wondering if they had like a script in here that ran the upload, But if I come back here and then I copy that link address, then come here, and instead of that, I'm going to duplicate that, comment out the line. I need a shortcut that duplicates the line while commenting it out so that I can do exactly that. Sometimes I want to like keep the old line, but comment it out but have a new line. So anyway, let's try that. Looks like, according to this, it's kind of a groovy sword too. Groovy sword. I saw sword and I said that. Groovy song. Groovy. I might do some interpretive dancing to it as well. Okay. Oh, I'm making a mess. And let's see. So, pop back here into test results. Did it fail already? Thanks for the great tutorial. Practice the setup and run your pet project on Appium. Yes, please let me know how it goes. Okay, this is actually the error that we wanted. Locator strategy CSS selector is not supported. That's fine because we didn't use a actual one. Go to the start of the line, comment it out, Command D duplicates the line, and then I go ahead. Yeah, you could do that too. So just so comment it, then Command D, or yeah, do it and then uncomment. That works maybe better. So comment, shoot, it's not command, it's a control, Command Shift D uncomment. All right, let's try that again. Comment, duplicate, uncomment. Yeah, that would actually work pretty well. But there's our little test. So we loads it, goes to the right page. And the CSS selector failing, I don't care. We can go to these tests, and what do they have? They have specs, and they have a web view. Equals API.click. Okay. I'm going to assert that that is existing. So we'll come back in here. We're going to replace the selector. I'm going to save it. And I'll leave that. This may fail still because we might need to do these steps where we wait for the tab bar to be shown. Oh, it highlights it, but I can't jump to it. Weird. We need to, oh, I can click it and then jump to it. Okay. Close that. So that waits for that. Maybe I can now start WebdriverIO Saturdays. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of, I don't want to commit to it too much because it's just a lot to, my life is so crazy these days. Link text is not supported. That's funny. I bet because it's not in the right web view. Could be it. Okay, so regarding like making this a regular thing, I kind of want to and I kind of don't want to because yeah, it's Saturdays and I have family and they come first, and so I don't want to commit to anything, but I do plan on keeping this going for the near future. I'll probably have to, if I pick back up another contract job, I'll have to cut this out. Maybe not. Maybe I'll be able to talk my wife into it. Open web view. Open the web view. What's that do? Yeah, one error is not bad. Web view. Okay, so it clicks the web view page. Oh, I see. So in this app, you see that there's tabs at the bottom. So one of those tabs is a web view. That's what's going on. And we don't actually want to go to that web view page. I don't want to bother with it. Well, yeah, it's just a little bit too far down the path for what I'm worrying about. App.login? Should we try it? Yes, we should. That was a rhetorical question. Okay. I'm going to, and this will be the last bit because we're over an hour now, and yeah, I need to get back to work on my book. This will be the last bit for this, and then we'll be done. Import tab bar. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be super lazy and watch this. I'm going to ignore that export default stuff. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to say class tab bar, right? And then we'll do the same thing with the login screen. Ugh. And I have to pull in app screen and selectors. Okay, at least the selectors are here. Let's try that again. And see how this exports a new login screen? What we have to do is say const login screen is equal to new login screen. And we have to change the casing on this because otherwise it's gonna kind of interfere with the other one. But that's pretty simple. Just do login screen. Okay. Now the problem is this extends app screen. Please tell me, oh, it has native alert as well? I think we can get rid of that. Well, I'm just gonna comment that out for now. And then this would have been so much easier just to copy paste. Oh, nope, I didn't want native alert. I wanted app screen, not copy paste. This would have been so much easier just to clone. Import default timeout. Oh, whatever. Whatever. I'm so done with that. It's just going to use the default timeout. I don't know why that was there. Okay. That should work. Kind of funky. Let's try it. Someone texted and I need to check who texted. Nothing special. You're trying to get set up working with GitHub Actions using emulators. Yeah. Man. It's so easy to overcomplicate and like make things go from like, okay, I want to get this basic thing going. Oh, you know what? I want to add this and I want to add that and I want to add that. And just trying to get, you can get them working separately wonderfully. Trying to get it all orchestrated together. Oh, that is tough. Okay. Cannot read property wait for is shown is of undefined. Wait for is shown. You know what we're going to do? Wait for is shown. Login screen. Wait for is shown. Is it not like... Oh. It's waiting for the alert to be shown. Dang it. Okay. Let's go see what's in this one. Whatever. I'm just going to copy and paste it all over and throw it in one big file and export default native alert. That's fine. We'll just keep it there. Then come back here. There we go. And run that. Yeah, so there is a login screen wait for is shown, which is defined in this app screen, which login screen extends app screen, so it pulls in that. But also there's login screen.alert.wait for is shown. Alert I had commented out because it had returned native alert, and I didn't want to pull in the native alert stuff, but looks like it might be needed. So this wait for is shown function is different from this wait for is shown. This wait for is shown function is here. Oh, it looks like it does a couple of different things. Selectors has already, that's funny. Selectors A. Try that again. Oh, I bet there's, oh, there's more than just that one. Oh, okay. Paste that. This is a good song. It's a good cover, by the way. There. Basically, by merging all the files together, we had some variable name overwrites, which wasn't great, but what you can do when you're trying to be lazy, you end up having to do a lot more work. You think I would have learned that by now and not be lazy, but it's not worth it. In a way. It looks like it's gonna rain outside. Is it gonna rain where you are? I want to know. Is it gonna snow where you are? It's not gonna snow where I am right now. Radar looks clear. We're supposed to have some more severe storms later today. Let's see how Texas is doing. Texas is like pure nothing there. Michigan is getting some rain. Colorado Springs is getting some rain out in Georgia. They're getting rain, which is not where I am. Getting some rain down in Orlando, Florida. This is Radar Scope, by the way, and if you want like a super awesome radar tool, it's super awesome. Highly recommend it. It's got like really, really clear radar, and yeah, you can get really close up and detailed and pretty good. Yep. Raining heavily in India, yeah? It's isn't this time of year kind of a rainy season, if I remember correctly? What? I cannot read properly. Oh. It's there. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Selectors A, Android, alert title. Selectors A, Android, what was it? Alert title. Selectors A, Android, alert title. What do you mean? Did I not save it? I didn't save it. It helps to save your files, people. Could you just save your files? It's so funny. Sometimes I help people with debugging stuff, and at some point I realize that they didn't save their file, and I'm like, did you save your file? And they get so embarrassed by it, and I'm like, please do not be embarrassed. I forget to save my file all the time. Like, even though it's super habit to hit that save, that is one of the reasons I think in Sublime Text, like, that little icon isn't there by default. Somewhere in here, highlight modified tabs. No. Okay. I thought that might be it. Maybe it used to be highlight modify tabs and they've updated it or something, but at some point, like, it didn't show that. It was just like a more subtle thing, and yeah, I was not cool with that. Not cool at all. Okay, that seems to be running. So yeah, it is rainy season in India. Yeah, and y'all get some pretty bad monsoons over there. Yeah, you get monsoons over there, but you also do get some tropical cyclones as well. I know several years back in northeast India, there was a pretty bad one, like a really bad one. Not just for the area, but like for the world, comparatively, like not good. So yeah, it's that time of year. Having grown up in Texas, I'm semi-familiar with hurricanes. Where I was at, we didn't really get them. We would get tropical storms, we would get a lot of flooding from them, but the wind wasn't too bad. But, you know, living on the Gulf Coast, you're always aware of it. Okay, it passed. Logged in successfully, kind of cheated there a little bit, but yeah, if you do want to go down this and try out stuff, I recommend this Appium boilerplate. They've got a lot of stuff in it. Wim, who wrote most of this, it seems, he's a core contributor, or I think he's part of the technical steering committee for WebdriverIO, and does some great stuff. So yeah, he's really smart guy, and you know, puts a lot of thought into all of the stuff, and you can see like the documentation on this is fantastic, and even the way that they pull out their selectors to do that is pretty good. You know, I kind of messed it up here, but this is pretty neat way of organizing all your selectors into a single object, and then being able to reference them later is pretty handy, especially when you need to switch from iOS to Android. That's pretty neat. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna finish that up, and I've got a little bit more energy left. So what I'm gonna do is switch gears and bring up the Web App Testing Guidebook, which you can get at LeanPub. Pub. You can even read a sample of it if you want to read a sample of it. I've been updating it to, I had mentioned that I had the switching from the chai assertions over to expect.js assertions and the WebdriverIO expect assertions. Yeah, that is something I finished up. Now I'm working on updating it to WebdriverIO version 6. Talk about custom selectors sometime. Oh yeah, you know, I had a request to do like all the different selectors you can go, and I actually have a chapter in my book about selectors and all these different shapes and sizes. Maybe I should just do a full video basically going through this and yeah, talking about all the different selectors you can do. So it's in the book. I'd rather do like an edited video for it because it's a lot of information, and I can come on do a little bit better explanation for it. But yeah, that is one of the videos I'd like to do. But what I really wanted to do was this last example. I was working on the exercise for it, and I was creating a test for the user profile page. So if I jump back over here, each user has a profile page that has their articles and stuff like that. And I started writing a test for it. Actually, I wrote page objects for it. Scroll down. I wrote a page object, logged into I created a profile, created an article, created a new profile page, and wanted to write the test for it. So I was just going to take a few minutes to write some tests for this to kind of finish this out. So let's close that. See if I can find there. Bring that over. So in here I had my profile page. Close you. Don't need you. Don't need you. Close you, close you, close you. Don't save. Okay, close all that out. So here's that. Let's bring up the profile page object. And we wanted to write a few tests. So we have it showing the username at the top of the page, which I have here. Switch that over to the new format, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to now do it should allow you to follow and unfollow a user. Okay, and just a reminder, I don't use fat arrow functions here because of there is an ability to do this.test and get information that has information about your test. And sometimes you want to do this.timeout and set your timeout for this specific test to something high. And if you do the fat arrow function, that messes up your this reference, and you can no longer do this.timeout. So I always do function, even though 99% of the time I don't need it. I don't want to get to the point where I do need it, and then I have to like have one of these be a function while all the rest are fat arrows. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it for whatever formatting benefit you have. But you do see I do use fat arrow functions here, and that is necessary because sometimes you need to do a this dot and you need it to reference browser. I don't have to do it here, but so we want to do follow and unfollow the user. So I come back here, there's this button, and it's going to be a pretty basic test. I'm going to assert that it says follow demo user, click it, assert that it says unfollow. Ooh, it's broken. Is it really broken? It is broken. What? What the heck? When to use arrow functions and when not to use them. If you're writing tests like this, don't use them. Same thing here. When you're using something like browser call, I would use them because sometimes you do want to reference like this dot, and it needs to be related to that browser. I talk about this in the book somewhere. I can't remember specifically. Here, 2.4. So basically, while callback, we use arrow functions. Well, these are all callbacks. This is essentially, you're passing a function into the before hook. So I could write this as a function for hook. Shoot. And then I could actually pass it like that. For the sake of time and formatting, I don't, but it is essentially a callback that we're saying, hey, before function, when you get called, call this function. So that's how a callback works. The difference between a fat arrow and a regular function are you have the visual difference, the way you type it is different, but also with the fat arrow, it changes the this reference. This is a keyword in JavaScript that refers to an object. It's a bit complicated, so I don't want to explain it poorly, but yeah, I would recommend reading better people's explanation of what's going on there. But I think a lot of people see fat arrow functions and they think it's only about the format, when it does actually have a functional difference between this format and this format, and mainly in that it changes what this means. And it's hard to say, it's hard to talk about, because the word this references that object. This is a keyword in JavaScript that references an object, but this is also a word in the English language that you could say, look at this, or look at this. So you kind of have to say, look at this. Some things people would do way back in the day, they would say variable that is equal to this. That way, when you're talking about it, now you're talking about that. I prefer variable self is equal to this, because it's a little bit better, because you could say that there, and that is even more confusing. Yes, it is impossible to not explain this poorly. It's so unneedlessly confusing because of the fact that the word this in English is used so often and is so built into our brain. If I search, see how I use this all the time. And so to convert that over to JavaScript and what this keyword means in JavaScript adds its own baggage, along with the fact that the way that keyword works is confusing, because it's a lot of things that are implied in it. Anyway, we wanted to look at, gosh, I think it was wait until. Oh, that's where it was. Okay. So if I go to my auth page object, I have a browser.waitUntil, and in it, see how I have these object references, or these element references up here? So in it, I want to wait for the sign in button, which references up here, to either the sign in button not to exist or the error message to exist. So this is a custom function. I won't talk really about wait until, but it allows you to wait until certain things are met. Because I'm inside of a class, I need to reference the class itself. And I do that by saying this. So to explain what this is, you see I have this.load. This references this overall class. And see how I had to use the word this overall class? That's part of the big confusion, is having to use the same word for two different meanings. So I say this.load. That actually references the generic page, which has a load function on it, which references this.path, which is referenced here. So you use this to talk about yourself, and that's where that constant self is equal to this. Just you don't have to do it, but it does make things a little bit, it can make things clearer in a way. One big reason for doing this in the past, for doing that in the past, had to do with browser events. So when you would click a button or an element on the page, you would have an event handler that would say, oh, this element was clicked, let's do something with it. And you would have something like this, and because of the quirkiness of JavaScript, basically the keyword would not reference itself, it would reference something else. And that was annoying. So anyway, this code works fine. It references that just fine. This code, if I had done function, it would say cannot find sign in on, I think it would be on the browser. It would give me that error. Let's Okay, I'm going to run that, and I'm going to show you what that error is. Basically, it's trying to run this, but the scope isn't correct because we're calling another function in here. And that function provides its own this value to our wait until function instance. And there it is. Cannot read property is existing on undefined. If I jump to it, you see here's the failure. Is existing. It's talking about here. It can't read a property is existing on this.signin because this.signin doesn't refer to here. It refers to something that browser.waitUntil passes in. And so that's why for browser wait until you need to do that. Alternatively, the way it used to be is you would do constant, and really it used to be var back in the days, this. So we basically create a reference to this, because remember I said that this works for here, but because this function is a callback function that gets run after the fact, it no longer has the same thing. So we would say self, and I could run that, and now it's going to work. So even though I have the standard format, the standard function, because I'm now referencing self instead of this, self points to here, which is a reference to the parent this. And if you're not confused by now, kudos to you, because I'm confused just explaining it. But yeah, that is a whole bit, and I do talk about it in my book. Where do I talk about it? So here I have it in the old version. Yes, right there. Yep, remember how I said this can be tricky? There we go. Yeah, you can do binding as well. Function binding is another option, but the fat arrow basically does something like that. So yeah, function binding was another way of getting around this debacle kind of stuff. So anyway, man, that was a long detour. What's the term? And my follow demo user doesn't work. Oh, why does it not work? Because view real world example app. Article actions. I don't want article actions. It's got to be under profile. So basically what I'm going to do now, excuse me, is open up the actual HTML view app for this page. Oh, it opened in VS Code. What did it open? Oh, because I command clicked. This is why I like Sublime Text over VS Code. Because look, it's still not opened. Oh, is it open? Is it finally open? Oh, no, look. Sublime Text opened it super quick. The only reason it took a while to load was because VS Code was still chilling out. Okay, so this is the profile page. Close you. Come back here. I have follow demo user. I did add a QA ID in here, which you can see here. Click prevent unfollow. Click prevent follow. So it calls follow and unfollow. What do those functions do? There's a follow function. This is Vue.js code. If you're not familiar with it, I like Vue.js. It's pretty neat. If you're not authenticated, return nothing. I bet that's what's going on. I'm not authenticated. That's okay. I'm disappointed that it shows you the follow button if you're not authenticated, and it only returns it returns nothing. So it doesn't give you an error message or say, hey, you need to be logged in to follow a user. It's like, nope, nothing. I'm going to give you nothing. So that's the problem that's going on here. And that's why it was so helpful for me to look at the code, is because I wanted to see why it wasn't working. Now we know that you have to be authenticated. That's not going to be a problem for our test. If you're, whoops. Yeah. I just need to specify that in our demo. So I'll jump back here, scroll to the bottom, do that. And then I think I'm just going to write this single test. Oh man, what is... Forget my credentials. Paste and oops, copy and paste. Come on. Now I can go to the playground user and I hit follow playground. Okay, now it says that, and then unfollow playground. So this should be a pretty quick test to write. We're going to come back into here. Expect to have text follow, and then I need to have the username there. Dot click. I'm going to want to click the element, expect the text to change to unfollow, click it again, and expect the text to be follow. Go to my profile page. I have, I already have a element reference for it. So let's use that, save that. Sometimes I forget, that's the thing I forget the most, is to save the page object, because I make the change, then immediately move over. And then I run the test and it's like, hey, that doesn't exist. And the other thing I need is I need to reference the page object itself. Okay, now, do that. One more. One thing you noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but it does completely change that element. But we can use the same reference because the HTML is essentially the same. And you see how I have a comma here? That actually checks two different selectors, and I can get rid of that because I don't need it. So it'll check for two different types of selectors. That's very useful if you have a page update coming. So you've added, on your site, you've added these QA IDs, but you haven't updated all your sites out there. Yeah. Why not keep autosave turned on? Because I like the feeling of pressing Command S. It feels good to me. It feels like there's progress. And I don't know. I just don't like the idea of auto saving, because sometimes I don't want it saved all the time. Yeah, that's why. Email, I need my username. So profile.username, I can reference that, come back here, reference that, come back here, reference that, and it.only, so it only runs that test. Now I jump back to my book examples. Profile, and let's run it. It's running in the other browser, and I'm not reaching over to move it. That time. It doesn't like, okay, so the problem here is that there's an extra 2 spaces, and yeah, you see there's a non-breaking space. They did that for padding. Kind of a lazy, very lazy way of getting padding in there. I would never do that. Thankfully, the expect library does some really nice things for us. Oh, I wanted you. Oh, don't. Get back. Expect. Under to have text. Where are you? Oh, wait. Here you can set trim. So we can tell it to trim the text results. Yeah, now we'll run it. So apply trim to the actual value. There's a little extra thing there, which I'm going to delete now. Man, it's a shame it's not Hacktober. Hacktober is a thing that DigitalOcean runs, where if you... Oh, I don't want to do that right now. Hacktoberfest, that's what it's called, Hacktoberfest. It's a thing that DigitalOcean and a couple of things run so that... Oh, that's weird. What did I do? A couple other companies run where you commit like 5 commits to a public repo, you get a shirt. And when you make like these little itsy bitsy commits, they still count, and that's awesome because you can get your shirt for free without having to worry about too much. Okay, why are you causing me trouble and pain? I don't think this toggle worked. Let's look at the HTML, the view page again. Router link. So this is if you're the current user, which we're not. Yeah, so many free they're nice t-shirts, I gotta admit. And I wear them around town, and I get like confusing looks. Like, what's Hacktoberfest? What's weird? Like, oh yeah, I guess I am wearing that shirt. Yeah, but they're really comfy shirts, and they've got a good design to them. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Close all of this. Goodness, where did my... What? Weird. Yes. I haven't gotten the shirt. I don't think I got the shirt last year. I was too busy. So it's a button. Why would the button not work? Why would this not work? Don't get it. It's using the DevTools protocol. Maybe I don't want it to use that. See? It looks like it clicked it. You know what? It's that stupid bug. I'm not signed in. Sorry. I'm over here. Yeah, so it looks like it clicked it. It's that bug that I'm not logged in, so I have to log in first. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do... Here, get that. Where's my login? Oh man. There we go. I have a login via API. I don't use auth. Oh, I do use auth to clear the session. Okay. This is information that you might not know about. So I'm just going to skip over it. But basically, create the profile, all that. Now log in, which if you're curious, whoops, this is what the code looks like. And it might fail because I've been having trouble with Chrome DevTools. I was going to switch all the way over from using the WebDriver protocol to using Chrome DevTools protocol. Not that you know what I'm talking about, but it broke things, so I'm not going to. So I need to turn my, basically I turned my Chrome driver service off because I thought I could just use Chrome DevTools, but I can't. I'm going to close that down. Why are you waiting? No, just turn it off. Try it again. But I need to turn it back on. And it's going to allow me to log in via the API, which makes an API request, loads the home page, sets the token, and then when I load the profile page, it'll have that token in place and it's going to act like I'm logged in. So there we go. Do this. And then once I get this test written, I'm going to call it a day. And it's been super fun. Thanks for hanging out and joining in on the chat. It makes it so much more fun to have people chatting. So I really appreciate it. And thanks for the, Emil, thanks for the challenge to work on getting some Appium stuff done. I think it's going to be something that a lot of people look through. And I'm probably going to watch, or not watch, edit down the live video to turn it into a more condensed version for people who are interested. Don't want to sit through all this kind of stuff. Question, do I watch animes? No. I watch a lot of YouTube lately. Why are you not loading? Just watch a lot of YouTube lately, and it's nicer for some reason because man, why did that fail? Did I break it? Did I break it? No. Just run it again. Maybe something froze up. It could have been because I was trying to kill the browser all the right away, and so it didn't like that. But back to it. Yeah, I kind of come and go with watching series shows. Right now, I like YouTube because it's. I don't like YouTube the platform. I like the creators on YouTube. They have some really interesting stuff. I've been getting to like some woodworking stuff, and then, not that I do a lot of woodworking myself, but that it's really amazing how these craftspeople are able to create just really cool stuff. So yeah, it's why is this not loading? Network. What? I was messing with network conditions. Oh man, what did I do? That's actually the old one. That shouldn't be in there. I had done something with browser network conditions. But nope, not there. Agnet. What's the last thing I want to do? Why are you like that? Who did this to you? I don't even have it in here. This is... Okay, yeah, keep all the stuff that I explained about JavaScript. Yeah, that's always pretty useful. That's one of the things that I have in the book is, in my previous course, I shied away from getting into too technical of JavaScript stuff, but I think people really appreciate having specific JavaScript knowledge that's tied to web automation. So not just general knowledge, but yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. Cool to hear that, Thomas, about, yeah, looking into WebdriverIO. Between Cypress and WebdriverIO, there's a big, big kind of which is better and stuff like that. And I think it really depends on your needs. So, come on. Yeah, it's nice to know both tools. I don't use Cypress as much as I think I should, or I don't know about it as much as I should, because it is popular. It has some really good benefits to it, but also it also has drawbacks to it. And I think WebdriverIO gives you a lot of functionality built in and really lets you take control of what you're doing, which I really like. Okay, so something in here, it's trying to load the base page. And it can't. Why? What happened here? So it tries going there. Oh. Failed copy paste. That should load. Ay, ay, ay. Add command. Okay. Poor man's debugging. Somewhere here it fails. And did I did. Okay. Can you make two versions of the live stream, raw and edited one? Yes, so the raw one is as soon as I hit end stream, YouTube processes it, and it does like 5-10 minutes of processing for it, and it's available on my channel. Yes, and that's for anybody who wants to watch it and go through the full 2 hours. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours now. You know, while they wash dishes for 2 hours, because if you're like me, you put off dishes for too long. There, ha! What the heck? It worked. Ah. Okay, slow down. See, it worked. Why did it work? Why did it work that time? And it's been failing every other time. Is it just a hiccup on the server? Or maybe it was something to do with me trying to force my way through it shutting down, and now that it actually did get to shut down entirely, it is happier now. Yeah. One other thing I could do is cut out the part about the this and WebdriverIO and make a full video out of that. Or not a full video, but, you know, an edited video out of that. Because I think that's another kind of key part. I don't want that browser debug in there anymore. Yeah, that kind of figuring out how to repurpose the work that I do is really important for me. I'm going to run it one more time just to make sure that the browser debug isn't causing it to work. I don't think it is, but you never know. But yeah, one of the things with me is I have limited time. So being able to take the time that I do spend and reuse it here and there is really good. There we go, it worked. Okay, so I got one more example done, or one more part of it done. And the last thing I need to do to finish that is the 2 tabs are shown, the content is correct, and yeah, I'm gonna skip that part, but I'm gonna do that. So I'm getting pretty close on this book. I have a few things, I keep saying I have a few things left to do, but you know, it's it's getting there. I'm really happy I got the expect WebdriverIO updates made, and I also am almost done with updating it to use WebdriverIO version 6. So I'm going to do another release of the book. Then I'm going to do incorporating all the edits that my buddy Michael has done. You've seen him on this channel before, and getting those in there. And yeah, that's going to get me really close. Oh, and I need to do formatting. I need to fix the code formatting, because the way that the code is shown, if you copy paste it, you can get some errors, which is dumb, because you should be able to copy paste code examples from a book. That's like a key part of it. So that's a big thing. But I'm also thinking about having like a group of 5 or 10 people go through the book. So what you'd do is we'd meet once a week, and we'd get a chapter assigned for that week that you would read independently. And then we would all meet and run through the exercises and skim through the content. And it's helpful for me because I can make sure that I've done some updates like this version 6 update where I changed some of the things that I said. I was really focused on Selenium before. Now I've switched to just WebDriver and Chrome Driver. And I've added some dev tools in there. So I may have made a change one place that that I reference the old content in another place, and I may not have caught it. So that's something I want to be able to see, but it also helps with when I turn this into a full course that I kind of have this starting point of, okay, this is what was a good way to teach, and this is what not a great way to teach. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at klamping. Or leave a comment here, and keep an eye out. I hope to do that within the next few weeks, because I got to get the money for it. I got to get the course money back in place so that I can so that I don't have to pick up another contract job, so that I can build out the course fully. So yeah, I need to get to work on that. A few more questions. Big problem with Cypress, you have to insert code into the back end. So if you're working on some SaaS platform, you're locked out. Yeah, that's one thing that I really, really love about WebdriverIO is how it's just another thing that sits on top of Node, and you can do anything you can do in Node, you can do with WebdriverIO, which is really cool. You can get some really cool stuff with that. I don't know if you saw, but here I use Chance.js to create random stuff, and that's a Node library. So I explain that in the book, but yeah, regarding developers breaking down over a bug, so I could use baked-in tools like a debugger, but come on, let's just use console log. It's too much trouble to get the debugger in place. I don't think Sublime Text has good. It does have a debugger. You have build systems. I don't know if it has a really good debugger. I have gotten the VS Code debugger working, and it's pretty neat. If I had a specific issue, I would really jump into it. But for my needs, I just stick with browser debugger console log. It's just, I don't know. I feel like the effort taken to put those debugger stuff in place usually isn't necessary. Like you saw here, it was just a network hiccup, so the debugger wouldn't have helped with that. But anyway, whatever you do, leave a raw version of this live stream. Yes, definitely leaving a raw version of the live stream, because it literally takes me no effort. I just hit end stream and it goes in there. So I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining in. This has been really fun, and I'm going to try and set up this again for next weekend. Same time, 2:30 Central Time. Works out pretty well for me. Works out well for y'all who have joined. And Hamil, stay dry with your rainy season over there. Everybody else, thanks for jumping in and listening and your questions and everything. And until next time, have fun testing.